Did we give you? I think you gave me an answer that we will get his signature on a piece of paper saying he wants that taken off the right foot.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sorry, Roger.
thanks, Roger.
Not a problem.
All right, so it is 10 o'clock on Tuesday, September 26th. And I would like to call our Atchison County Commission meeting to order and welcome everyone. We have the invocation this morning from Father John. So we will give him about 5 minutes and see. This is his. He was here last week, I guess. So.
He said he was coming.
Okay, perfect. So he
I
might
thought
just
he
be
said last week that he'd see us this week.
yeah, couple of minutes behind, so. Haley, just so you know, that letter we talked about last week, getting to NECAP. I emailed that to them, but I'm gonna put it in the folder just so you have a scanned copy. From their request last week, so just wanted to let you know if you see it in here and you wonder, what is this? You guys know. I left it on the bookshelf out there, even though Commissioner Rivas reminded me.
We have a copy of that prayer.
That Sister Connie gave us.
I may be in that way. They have it scanned.
I know, right? That's a great idea. Well, I know there's one out there.
Well, I have it. Yeah, somebody that is.
Yeah, I remember you did that in a meeting. Yep. You just wanted to pause a minute. Like. Right, we're not ready on it.
You know.
I want this road builder's product guy. It came to the commission. And that's really interesting really too, underground infrastructure. Well, we will just pass that, and if Father John will have him join us within the meeting, if you're okay, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment. Okay. Seeing none. Approval of minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the commission meeting minutes from September 19th?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Rivas.
All I've got is at JCAB meeting Thursday in Leavenworth. It's coming up. Otherwise, pretty quiet.
Commissioner Noel,
I don't have anything this morning.
okay. Commissioner comments. I just wanted to touch base on receiving feedback from folks in one of my townships and let everyone know that as elected officials, we all stay in our lane, and as far as any authority that the county commission has over townships, we do not have any. So if there's any issues, just feel free to reach out to the other elected officials that may be involved. So I just wanted to clear that up, because a lot of times, even if it's other elected officials, people think they can call us and we can do something about it, and it's like, that doesn't work that way. So just making sure that's clear for the public. All right, new business. Jill will be back in a minute.
I don't think that's bid opening, so we have to wait till. Do we need tracking?
Yeah, we have like 9 minutes.
10, 15. Everybody supposed to be here.
Yeah, good point. It is bid opening. Okay, I thought that was it.
See what's out there.
He was on the phone. That's what I thought I heard him.
But like Eric said, like with the bid opening, we probably need to wait specifically for 10:15, since
Yeah.
if anybody
That's
wants
the
to,
issue.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Morning, Mary. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, early.
I think there's only one to sign this time. I didn't see the. Other.
I don't know about none of that.
Yeah, maybe a little deeper, maybe something got. It might be in the blue folder. Here. I think. Nope, that's something else.
Oh, yeah, the payroll's not on there. Was it?
Thought that was it.
You're up, but yeah, but we were gonna do, the 10:15 is the bid opening, so if you wanted to do your department update first, and then we can, if you're good, and then at 10:15, we'll do the bid opening.
Okay.
Thank you.
The striping on our road plan for the roads that we chip and seal this year will be completed today, as long as they don't have any breakdowns or anything. Bridge planks has been everybody's been wanting them. The only problem we've had is a lot of people are wanting more than the 5. So I didn't know if that was something that we would reconsider, because it slowed some people from getting them, because they wanted more than 5.
What do you think of good?
I don't, I honestly don't know how you answer it. I mean,
Because some will-
I was contacted, from for the Hiawatha Country Club. They run cross country there. Hiawatha schools do. And some of their bridges that the kids run across are in bad shape. And they were wanting to know if they could buy pretty well the rest of them. We've had, I think, 2 different groups of people buy them. The first one, his wife bought 5 and he bought 5. The next one was 3 of them bought 5, you know, for one project. So I was just curious if we change that, you know, to a first come, first serve, or what do you
I
think?
keep it in county first of all.
Okay, well, the only thing
Much as
that,
possible.
the thing that didn't bother me with that is it has to do with the school.
Right.
I mean, strictly, so the coach contacted me.
Yeah.
About it. So, but if you want to keep it too strictly county, that's fine too. But if they sit there now and nobody comes,
Is anybody else asking about it?
we've had everybody who has bought them, except for when I told the Brown County or the golf course up there that it had to be 5 at a time. And they all had to pay for it. I hadn't heard a word from them, but before that, they were pretty interested. So,
How many do you have left?
we're
Talking 100?
no,
20?
27, 30, somewhere around 30.
Yeah.
Usually when we take them off, most of them are in really poor shape, and I don't spend the time on a lot of them pulling the nails because it costs more to pull the nails than it does to buy the plank. If you pull them all out, so they're just sitting there in a pile. But that question was asked to me, so I wanted to.
I would just leave it alone for a while until we see maybe the pile will dwindle down.
Okay.
And then after maybe if they start building back up and people aren't coming, then let's change. But that way it'll kind of give everybody access for a while.
Is it-
Until we see kind of
Okay.
the initial rush to come get them.
In a month and a half, if it's stopped and no one else is wanting any, then maybe we can
Yeah.
look at something else.
Do have more next year.
And a lot of them, you know, if they're bad enough, they just go straight to the landfill, or if it's after hours and we can't get there, then that's why the piles end up out there. We're mowing gravel roads. After the rain, the blades are all 3 of them. One of them, we don't have an operator right now. We've got to get him trained, and the air conditioning isn't working. But we're trying to mow ahead of the blades. And then after we get through this initial round, then we will pull up the retriever and start pulling stuff from the sides to the middle road. But the gravel roads right now are priority. We're putting in tubes as many as we can. We've got a lot of community concerns on ditches, and we're putting rock in ditches, and we're doing those things. So and then we will start this next week with getting all the equipment ready and prepared for snow removal. So, and we're just trying to get our young guys their CDLs right now. So we just hired another they're young, but the first 3 we've hired are some of the best that we've hired. And I don't see the others to be any differently. So, and that's about it. I mean, finishing up the projects, and then of course today we have the fall patching. And we're the low water crossing, I have to get a permit before we can send it out on the tube. And we're in the process of doing that. We had to get a picture overhead in both ends. So we had a little drone that went out yesterday, and it could get the overhead picture and get the ends, so we weren't out in water waist deep, so that they can see it when we apply for our permit. That's about it.
Okay, well,
Excellent.
I'll leave 30 seconds. Yeah, great job on the white lines, by the way. I've had, ever since they started, people just either text or called or seen me and said, these are so helpful, like,
But just when you don't realize it till you drive down the road. I mean, you can visualize it, but as soon as you turn the corner and you hit that
Especially at
road,
night.
yeah, but I mean, just. It looks complete, makes the road look completely different.
it's 10:15. We will do the fall patching bid opening.
You want me to open them for you?
I don't, yeah, if you wanna do the zip thing and I'll pull them out and read them, or if they're, unless they're, some of them get taped so bad that.
It looks like you had 4 bids today.
Okay.
I'm numbering them so that way I know which ones go where. Joe,
All right.
I can keep track.
So we had a county-wide fall patching bid, and it is to prepare the asphalt roads or chipped and sealed asphalt to prepare them for next year for chip and seal. And it was sent to bid. And we have 4 people that have responded, and this one is Little Joe's. And his bid is $291,010.
If you want to leave them there for.
No, okay.
Yeah, and then I'll get them there. Number 2.
Asphalt. This is from Bevis. Man, that's 170,417.
Say that again.
$170,417. And just so everyone knows, this went to a bid room. And then I personally sent this to our local asphalt company, and he called this morning and he didn't get his bid put in. So this one is from McConnell and Associates. It is 170,832.
Where are they from? You haven't heard of them.
Kansas City, Missouri, that's what it says. This one is PCC from Lee Summit, Missouri. It's 157,236. So we have one from Little Joe's for 291,010. We have one from Bettis from 170,417. And McConnell and Associates is 170,832. And PCC is 157,236. And I just want to look at Little Joe to make sure I read that right. Yes, I did. So We'll go over these with Gabe. And we'll be back either next week or the week after with a recommendation for you guys.
And check references and all. that.
Yes, we're gonna,
How does a bid room work? Is that just a portal?
So,
where it's-
it's just it's a portal where they put these projects out and you get more people bidding your jobs. So what we do on, like, if we're doing culverts and stuff like that around here, we will send all of that to the local contractors. When it's something that's a big project, then we do that. Plus, we try to make sure it gets sent to the local people that did it, that do the same type of work. So, but yeah, it's just a big portal and then people get to go
I
in
think
there.
there's two here that we've never had bid before.
Right,
Which is
right.
awesome. That
Yeah.
laser work.
Yeah, so that's, and you know, and then like just like culverts with head walls and stuff like that, we keep that, I try to keep that local. You know, because we have enough companies, enough contractors here that do that local stuff, and I want to give those the opportunity, and then when it gets into the bigger ones, then we. Unless you guys would like me to change, that's how I do
That's
it,
fine.
Yep.
so,
Thank
all right,
Did you have an engineer's estimate on what this was gonna cost?
it's under it,
Okay.
it's under the engineered estimate. If you want to know, I'll tell you, I mean, like
Ballpark.
250
Okay.
to 280.
Okay.
So we're under that, which would give us, after I meet with Mark and make sure, the opportunity to maybe do a few more places that we had talked about earlier
Pretty good, yeah.
that would help us get through the year.
Yep.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Welcome, we're running ahead of time, but we have Jess Steel here from K-Work, the Workers' Compensation Solution for Kansas County. So welcome, guys. We appreciate you coming to give us some information on what your company does.
Yeah, I'm Jess Still. I'm the marketing director and the loss prevention specialist. This is Brandon Mann. He's actually deputy administrator and the loss prevention supervisor. Yeah, so I just figured I'd just bring him down. I was gonna. Is it okay if I just use a handout?
Yes, sir.
Instead of putting it up
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, absolutely.
this be just a little bit, probably a little bit easier.
Just grab the chair. Yeah.
And if you have an extra one, our HR director couldn't be with us today, but she's going to be heavily involved in this process.
There you go.
So I'll get one for her.
There you go.
Thank you.
You guys are already with K-Camp.
Yes.
Brandon and I actually both were with K-Camp way back in the day. I was their insurance adjuster, so I handle all the stuff for you guys as far as property and auto liability.
I was a risk manager and about 12 years ago made the switch from K-Camp over to K-Work, so.
And I did the same thing. K-Camp was, K-Work, K-Camp was formed in 92 and K-Work was formed in 93. And currently we have 83 counties right now.
Mhm.
And I think we have like 11 other small entities like,
Water districts, juvenile justice district, recycling, regional recycling organizations that fall under the purview of the counties that we insure already, so. 83 out of 105 counties get their workers' comp through us.
so we just about have everybody. Anyway, if you just want to follow along with me real quick, I just want to go over this real quick so I don't forget anything, and you guys are free to keep these, but what is K-Work? Well, actually it's a pool. Just like an insurance company, except that we have a board of trustees that with 7 that we have throughout the state. And they're the ones that we do have a board meeting we'll have one Thursday, we have one every month. And everything is gone over by the trustees and voted on. We're formed under interlocal agreement. What happened back in 1992 and 93, insurance rates just went through the roof for sometimes threefold. And then that's why K-Work and K-Camp formed. I think we started with 37 counties and we've just gone up and up and up and up. Works County owns. Jim Parrish is the administrator, Brandon deputy, and Nicole is deputy. And we're also county operated. So we have 7 board members, and we break that up through the Kansas road.
Yeah, we want to
district.
get good distribution representation throughout the state. So for our board of trustees, their KDOT has 6 road districts. So we use those geographical road districts to find a trustee from each one of those road districts. And then we have a 7th that's at large. This year, it is Pottawatomie County Commissioner, who used to be the Pottawatomie County Sheriff, is our at-large trustee.
Greg Riot, yeah.
And for this district, it's Linda Butcher, the county clerk of Jefferson County.
If you just turn to the map here, I'll just point this out to you. The counties in pink are the ones that we have, the ones that are in dark pink or purple maybe, that's where we have our trustees. Okay, so broke up. And then this just gives you a quick glance down here on the next one, who's all with us. And then next page, take a look at our trustees. Might know a few of them, I imagine.
We have 2 county clerks and 5 county commissioners that serve on our board of trustees currently.
Yeah. And everybody, yeah, and at the KAC, when we have our annual meeting, that's when you actually, you'll send a delegate, if you're with us, to actually vote on what goes on at the annual meeting. The committees that we have, investment, audit, and personnel committee, and they meet quarterly. So stay up to date on that.
Now, those committees, just the trustees, or are there other people on those committees?
Just
The
trustees. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And each one of those committees meets twice a year.
Um,
So this Thursday is going to be the 2nd meeting of the personnel committee,
okay.
for example. And in February, we have another personnel committee meeting.
I'm gonna go over the loss prevention stuff real briefly, and I'm gonna turn it over to Brandon to have him go over it. Of course, Brandon's deputy administrator and loss prevention manager. I'm a loss prevention specialist and marketing director, and then Ben Woner, he's a loss prevention specialist. Brandon has Northeast Kansas, I have Southeast Kansas, and Brandon and I both teach, and we'll get into that here in a minute, but Brandon does everything north of I-70, and I do everything south. And Ben just does inspections. And Brandon, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to talk about our inspections and.
Sure, yeah. Just out of curiosity, I think I remember teaching defensive driving classes upstairs at one point in the top floor. Was the commission chambers used to be upstairs?
It used to be on the main floor.
It's very
Moved a
popular.
few times.
I've been up there.
Unless you
before,
were up,
anyway.
and maybe even use the courtroom.
Oh, maybe that was it. It's been years ago when I was with Kate Gantz. I did defensive driving classes here, but yeah, one of the things that makes us different than a traditional insurance company is we are very heavily involved with our counties as far as safety is concerned. So what you could expect from us is, since you're in my territory and I'm a loss prevention supervisor, you expect to see me at least 3 times per year doing safety walkthroughs of your county buildings. And I create a report. We have a nice little software program that we use. We take photos of things that we see, and then we send you a report 3 times a year. We don't have any enforcement authority. This is just our safety recommendations. You know, you can take them or leave them, do whatever you want to with them, but at least you know what's going on in your buildings, what we see safety wise that probably should get some attention. So we also offer safety classes for free. This is something we do in person. I teach, I'm a certified instructor through the National Safety Council for defensive driving, flagging and work zone safety, and forklift operations. A lot of counties say, well, we don't have a forklift, so we don't need forklift classes. Well, as far as OSHA and the Kansas Department of Labor is concerned, any piece of equipment you put forks on, whether it be a Bobcat, front end loader, you put forks on the bucket, that becomes a forklift as far as they're concerned. And any operator of that piece of equipment has to go through formal training every 3 years. So we offer that for free. So those are a couple things that we do that makes us uniquely different. So that's in person and it's free. one of the results of the pandemic was I also recorded myself doing all these classes, plus more. Hazard communications, bloodborne pathogens and things like that. And put them all onto our K-Work website, so people are free to take those classes online as well if they want. What some of our counties do, say for example, Saline County has a high turnover rate, especially in the road and bridge department. Instead of me coming in and doing a class every month for 3 new people that they've hired, I come in once or twice a year, do a class for everybody, and then they have a new hire. They sit down in front of a computer, they take the class, they send me a test, and they get certified that way. So that's one way to use that. The other thing that we offer as far as training is concerned is we've partnered up with JJ Keller. If you've never heard of them before, they're probably the biggest name in commercial safety in the United States, and they have online training that we pay for that's available for your use. So if my mentality as far as training is concerned is we don't do any classes that we're not subject matter experts in. So I am not a subject matter expert in a man lift, piece of equipment. So instead of us trying to come out and stumble through a class and maybe teach things the wrong way and tell people here, JJ Keller has this class, it's very good, that you can take online for those employees are going to be using that specific piece of equipment. So a couple things that we do, different than the commercial insurance market, you expect to see us. So we will be here.
I'm gonna go over Poet real quick.
Oh, sure, yeah. Poet program, it's post offer employment testing is what POET stands for. So say, for example, if you want to use the POET program, you make a conditional offer of employment to an employee and say, okay, but first, before we hire you officially, we want you to go to this physician and they do employee testing on them to see what the range of motion is like. So we have that documented before they come on board as a county employee, because otherwise, if they get injured at work, we need to put them back to the same condition that they were, when they were hired or the day that they were injured. And otherwise, we don't know what their condition was unless we go through the POET program. So there's just a handful of counties that actually take advantage of that program, but it is free for you to use. So we pay the cost of that.
It's about $40 or $50 per.
$40 or $50.
Jefferson County uses it. And Harvey County used to use it quite a bit when we had them. Also something that we do have, we have a grant through the KLETC, the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center. And what we found is it's so hard to keep jailers. And some of the counties out there are paying the deputies, the road deputies, the same amount as what they're paying the jailers because they just can't get them. So through the Kansas Sheriff's Association, Brandon and I are real good friends with the 2 people that run it, formed this grant, and it's $500 to send your guys, your jailers, to the training facility. Brandon's actually been through the class. It's at the KLETC in Hutch. And it's $500. That's room and board. And what we do is we'll pay for half of that. Now you don't have to apply for it. You don't do anything. Sandy Horton, the guy that runs it, just sends me a list and I go through and I say, yep, I'll insure them, we insure them, we insure them. And we just cut you a check. So that's something else. That
basic jail academy.
Yeah,
a week-long class. It's really good.
There's actually 2 different classes. There's a jail class and jail supervisor is what they have now. And there's about 40 or 50 people each quarter that actually go through it. So gave you another handout here, some of the things that, we go over. Brandon and I just went down to Montgomery County, 2 weeks ago, and sat down with them, and we're helping them form a safety program, put together one. And Brandon's written a lot of.
I have my master's degree in occupational safety, so I've developed a lot of white papers on all sorts of different things. I've developed an injury management program, and all this stuff is free for you guys to use if you want. And we'll come down and help you set up a safety committee and set in on the safety committee if you want us to, make suggestions. We have found that there's a big difference in the number of losses between counties that do have a safety committee and those that don't. So we encourage that. So return to work programs, modified duty, light duty, whatever term you want to tag on that, but getting people back to work as soon as possible. So, they're not sitting at home watching the daytime TV commercials. If you've seen those lately.
What's a percentage of, Brandon, if they're out of work for so long, what was that, like 9 or 10 months or something?
If they've been out for 6 months, they are 90% likely not to return to work ever. So I want to get them back to work as soon as possible.
Yeah.
In any capacity.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go ahead and keep moving on here. You guys have any questions or anything right now? Okay. Of course, loss prevention, the defensive driving, ergonomics Brandon was talking about. I love defensive driving personally, because that's something that, your employees will get a certificate, and it's good for 2 years that we provide after you go through the class, and they can take it to their local agent, and they can save a little bit of money on their insurance. It's kind of, you can't really measure prevention. You can, you can pull data and say we're having backing accidents or we're having this and that, but it's not like you can say, well, I followed 5 seconds behind instead of 3, and I didn't hit somebody from behind, so you really can't figure that out. But I think that it's a really good refresher course. It's a 4-hour class. Brandon and I get it done in about 2 hours and about 15 minutes.
Yeah, over 20 years of doing it, I've figured out what's the important stuff and what's the not so important stuff. And so cut it down from 4 hours to 2 hours. So
yeah, and and this, like I tell everybody, the median age for county workers are probably 30 to 60 years old. And then, if I have to tell you that you shouldn't pass on a double line, you got bigger problems. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you how to make a right hand turn or a left hand turn, and Brandon doesn't do that either. So then we're accountable. All financial transactions are reported. Checks over 7,000 cosign. We do a claim review, loss prevention review, quarterly financial reports to members, quarterly claims reports to membership. And we have excess insurance, just like all insurance companies have excess insurance. They just don't tell you that they buy them, but it's just as simple as this. How I like to explain it is I have $1,000 deductible on my home. Well, I'm buying excess insurance through American Family, to cover my home. So really, so we are insured again by us. Safety National. Our third-party administrator actually handles our claims. They're out of Wichita. It's TriStar. It's Amanda Chamberlain and Jenny Mitchell. There's, being an adjuster myself, property, auto, and liability, there's basically 2 kinds of adjusters out there. There's ones that get it done, and there's ones that apologize and complain and say, I'm just late, I'm slow. Amanda and Jenny get it done. I mean, they really are good. And the thing that I've found, with pooling and being with K-Camp and K-Work, it's just, you guys have got so much to do, and the sheriff has got so much to do, and the road and bridge has got so much to do, that, messing around with insurance can be tough. But, chances are you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to make a phone call, and you're going to get who you need to talk to. That's one of the biggest things I found, save you a little bit of money, and things just flow a lot easier. I talked to one sheriff deputy that I work with all the time, and we actually lost him. And he said, yes, he goes, I didn't. He goes, I didn't. And I said, I know. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I said, I'm not trying to say that I do it any better than anybody else. But he said, Jess, with you, I picked up the phone, I called you, it was done. He goes, now with these guys that we're with, they're good. But he says, I got to repeat myself 6, 7 times to 6 different people. He goes, it's just so much easier to go through the pools. Daily operations, best practices. We do have a meeting every month with with Amanda. She comes up from Wichita and goes over the claims that we have if we need a reserve advisory or a settlement authority on them. Next page here, just charter members. That's who we started off with, and then 30 members. And 25, 15, and 10 members. And then K-Work works for you. Have any questions, or Brandon, do you have anything to add?
Well, not really. But, you know, we've been doing this I've been with the pools for 23 years now and gotten to know our counties really well. And I just it's kind of surprising that Atchison County's with K-Camp and not K-Work. It's usually the other way around, that the counties will have K-Work and not K-Camp. But so, you know,
I think in the
more than
last,
happy to come up here and work with you guys.
yeah, I think in the last 4 years, we picked up about 10 counties, haven't we?
Yeah, something like that. We've grown quite a bit.
Yeah, grown quite a bit lately.
I appreciate you guys coming to give us information. I listened to you guys at a K-Camp function.
I
And
thought you looked familiar.
yeah, and the statistics of 83 counties of the 105 kind of like piqued my interest of like, what are they doing? We're not. And then when I looked, so we're currently with Carrot. And when I looked, it's like, okay, we're one of 2 counties. So, you know, again, we lean on professionals, staff that deal with this every day for guidance, but I was just more curious of, because K-Camp, we see the value in that and
Sure.
all of the things, but of what you guys are doing.
Well, I would
versus-
encourage you to call. I mean, if you know commissioners, you know, in these counties, call them and talk to them, you know, and ask them what they think. You know, we just picked up Nemaha not too long ago. We picked up Brooks. Brandon and I met with Leavenworth County. They're also with Carrot,
Yeah,
and we got them some information. Mark, the administrator, wanted our financials, so I got him the quarterly report this morning, and he was going to go over that and then get back with me. But yeah, those are the 2 counties that are with Carrot, you guys, and then Leavenworth.
yeah.
We picked up Montgomery this year. Or not Montgomery, Butler.
Butler.
Yeah. And
So is that because of price? I mean, that's one thing that hasn't been mentioned is price. So I mean,
Yeah,
how do we compare that?
usually we're usually coming a third cheaper.
But I mean, how is that arrived at?
Okay. All I need is your payroll. And as far as, you know, your old policy payroll, your experience mod, and then you get that provided to me, and then we can put together a premium. Well, we like to say contribution and really not premium because we're a pool, but our contribution is arrived on payroll. So for each different, let's say the sheriff has got a certain amount per $1,000 that they pay. The road and bridge has a different amount. An office worker is going to have a lower rate than the more dangerous professions out there. And so we just take your payroll and then times the rate. Could be $2.50 per 1,000, and then that's calculated out and that's calculated down, and then we use your experience mod. And your experience mod it's a number put out by the NCCI, and it's kind of a
numerical representation of how good or bad your losses are. If your experience mod is 1.0, then you have exactly the amount of losses in the previous 4 years that we'd expect you to have nationally. If it's greater than 1.0, then you've had worse losses. If it's less than 1.0, you've had not as many losses. So that's really what the experience modifier is.
Yeah, and you know what we usually do is we can get that. You guys renew probably January 1, right? Yeah. I mean, what we could do is, you know, I mean, what I like to do is have Carrot or, yeah, the other company, and we'll meet here at the same time. And then we'll open bids and then just enter them into record. That way everything's on the up and up. And how much different than that?
I have a question. I'm the finance director for the county. My name is Mark, and do you do any dividend distributions?
We don't do dividends. What we do is instead of doing, the problem with dividends is if a county leaves the pool. And they decide to go to the commercial insurance market or something, we still have to pay them a dividend. You know, even though they've left. So what we do is we pay it on the front end by keeping the rates lower. And that's why our premiums are lower than typical commercial insurance or other pools.
So it wouldn't necessarily show up as if you've done a bid with another company. I mean, with the actual cost versus what the bid would be. If they were paying a dividend at the end of the year.
Yeah,
What their actual costs would be, but if they were doing a bid, it would show higher.
Yeah.
Even though they could pay a dividend and it could be actually even.
They could pay a huge dividend, they could pay nothing, you just
Right.
don't know until that dividend check arrives, so.
But I mean, it's
we
just
paid
that
on the front end.
snapshot
Yeah,
at January 1st.
right,
That's what I'm talking
right.
about.
And, like I said, we typically run, I mean, I can't, I'm just trying to put you in the ballpark, but usually it's about 30% is usually where we can come in lower. What I've seen, I know Butler County, we saved them about, Finney County, Garden City, it was a third. And then also Butler County, it was a third also.
Yeah, they're larger than we are too, so
I'm sorry?
they're larger.
Oh, yeah.
than we
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Have more employees.
Yeah.
But a third on average is typically where we fall.
And we
Plus
use,
the commercial market.
we usually try to bid, although we are separate entities, we always try to get K-Camp involved. Because I mean, Brendan and I know the policy, it's just in and out. It's just so much better than a commercial market. And I actually worked for St. Paul, EMC and Travelers before I went to work for K-Camp. And so I was an independent adjuster is what I was. I worked for the Bureau, but most of the companies that hired me were them. And the reason why they would hire me is because they might not have, like Pharmacist Mutual. That's a insurance company. Of course, they insure pharmacists. Well, you really don't need to put on an adjuster, in even Kansas, and have enough work to do. And so then they would just hire us. And then in any of the overflow claims like that their adjusters couldn't handle, they sent to us. You worked for Safeco, Brandon, before that, or?
Safeco and Shelter Insurance.
Yeah. So they just hire an independent, which would be us, to take care of the work instead of that. And I started with K-Camp in 2004. And I just went to K-Work about 4 years ago. Just got tired of climbing roofs, really. Really.
That's a young man's job.
Or January 1. I
Well-
think that's why we set them up in September for like this
Yeah.
timing.
So we just did our renewal projection with Carrot.
So it's really good timing for,
Yeah.
for them to
Yeah. I
submit
think we
something,
need to work with the HR director and-
Yep.
and you three, and we just need to
do it.
discuss what next steps are.
Okay,
If they need our experience mod and our payroll numbers that we already put all that together. Jody and I did for Carrot, so we already have it pretty much.
Yeah,
Unless there's something special you guys need.
Now there's 7 things and I can get you what we need. We like to get the copy of your old policy. Experience my payroll, and then I have a form that I have to have you fill out from Safety National, which it's gonna take you 5 minutes. I mean, it's just real simple to do. Because we have to get our reinsurance going and then, get the experience mod, and we just get all that turned in to our brokers. Well, I think, from, like I said, being with the pools, it just seems like everybody comes away that it's just a lot less hassle. Going through the pools instead of a regular insurance company. Now, Carrot may be a little bit different though, than EMC, Travelers, St. Paul and stuff like that. And it might be a little bit easier to deal with, I imagine.
Have you ever had a year where you had so many claims you had to go into your secondary insurance.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's not, it's case by case, so that layer, when we get into the excess insurance, is when we have. Typically, when we have a very serious injury that eventually results in a fatality,
Right.
that gets into that secondary layer.
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
It's not cumulative throughout the year.
Usually one or two things that do it.
Yeah.
Now I know that.
And we still, when it gets into that layer, I mean, you all don't know about that. It's not like you're dealing with another company. You're still dealing with K-Worth. And so,
Yeah.
and Amanda and Jenny. So,
And like K Camp is, they have a $250,000 self-insured retention or deductible. And they're on a 72-hour period. So if something happens, for instance, when I was working with them, they had that Ford County tornado. Well, I had 6 or 7 different claims on that day. And I downshifted it down and upshifted it to where I could get most of the claims, and everything over 250,000 went into a different layer. And so that's just like us. But ours is a case by case basis.
Well, here's Jody and Mark's email
Okay.
address, and sorry, I don't have their cards on here, but
Okay.
those two will be. Yeah, that's Mark. So, Mark,
You have a card?
Finance
I do,
director.
I will go get it.
Okay. Any other questions for you guys? Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you
All right,
for
thank
the
Let us know if you want to
presentation.
bid. Yeah,
Appreciate it very much.
let us know and we can come up and
Yeah, and as Mark said, it sounds like it's good timing. We just got from our current, so
well, that's exactly like Leavenworth, because they said, oh, we just turned everything in, so we've got everything fresh. So
Do you mind if I have that on one of those copies? Is that all right?
not at all. Yeah,
Thank you.
you bet.
all right.
all right.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks to you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
And if you guys on your way out, the clerk's office upstairs, Jody's cards are right on the counter. If you want to grab an HR card, there's.
Okay.
right there. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Mark Siltner, Finance Director, County Attorney Reserve Purchase Order.
Yeah, so, the county attorney has. A purchase order that you would like to request out of the reserve funds.
So I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase order for the county attorney to Wire Nuts LLC out of her reserve fund 250 in the amount of $2,950.99 for wireless transmitters for attorney.
What is it?
Wireless transmitters.
It's for her door, the access panel.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. This is 3-0.
it's funny, the company's called Wire Nuts, but it's for wireless.
Thank you.
All right, so we have about 25 minutes until executive session. Do you guys have any unfinished business or?
Who will that executive session be with?
You said, there'll be the 3 commissioners. Pat. And Joe and Justin Bouchon.
And who?
Justin.
How long will it be?
I think I was talking about 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
30 minutes, yeah. Yeah,
Mark?
Yeah. It's 11:15, so
Okay. We just stop.
Okay,
And then I have a copy. I was gonna tell my daddy that I ordered some chicken. Here.
But it'll be an attorney to it.
yeah.
so I think maybe we should. Maybe we'll get, but. If that gentleman emails us and, or we can reach out.
Yeah, and
Get
Joe,
what he needs and then have it, get what we need for you 3. because it seems like. From what he was saying, we kind of have some of already the services that they were talking about with our current, it's just pricing,
Mhm.
maybe the factor. So,
That's, we had. Safety meeting last Thursday and I got on a little late and the discussion was like, oh. What's this about? Basically, because, and I think the consensus of the safety committee is like, they like where we're at as far as the people that we're working with, Carrot. And all of that, so it'll be pricing, but I mean, it sounds very similar. As far as, we already have a safety committee, we already have a lot of those things.
Right,
but
the
Also
also
kind of,
driving, the loss prevention, the
Yeah.
safety walkthroughs, all that's checked off, so.
and so. I guess a lot of. Since we have experience working with them, and we like the. The product that we've been getting, I mean, it would definitely have to be something like price that would come up, because it's like, we weren't searching because we didn't have good protection. Or we didn't like this and that.
Well, and just to be clear, even though I did hear them and brought it up, like they had been reaching out to Michelle and she had been meaning to put them on. And last year we missed the September window to where it was too late. And we were like, okay. So Michelle told him, okay, next year. And so that's why we had it set up so far ahead of time.
Yeah.
So we remembered. So
What's like
Um,
dividends do?
but 30% lower sounds great.
But that's,
Depending on what
So
that
that's-
is.
but that's
Well, yeah.
before we get very large dividends
So
and
that's-
things too.
That's
So
what-
I'm gonna
that's
speak on
what I was
behalf of
bringing
like
up.
the safety committee then, because I'm the secretary for that. And the fact that we do get those dividends back
Mhm,
from our current
mhm.
entity. Basically what happens, okay, we go with this person that is 30% less. We use those dividends to help fund. Probably it's helping to fund the Columbus Day training, I'm assuming, I'm assuming. It helps fund the Christmas party, so all of this stuff that. I help assist to turn in to the two different entities to get money back from those dividends. If they're that much less, what's gonna happen to that? Because we've only got so much money and
Yeah.
Then
It
then
would
we're
have
not.
to be made up.
Something, so is that money then the savings going to be a budget then for us? To be able to still do, I mean, that's questions that we have
We
and
need to
it's,
budget that, and then
For the
what
Christmas
is the
party.
dollar amount per year?
it just depends.
Well, it's just a.
I don't know, I think Mark's,
I mean, just all,
I don't know,
Anywhere from 10 to 20.
okay,
And that's kind of what
And-
my point was. I
Yeah.
knew that they used that for that and it was, that needs to be in the thought process also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and looking into whatever trainings that are free that come with it that they offer, so
Yeah.
that could. Offset paying
Which
for
I think
Columbus
we get
training.
quite a bit of that
Yeah.
offered
we
now.
also have online view,
We just don't reach out as much, I think.
well, there's different classes that you can take, and that's what we're trying to get out, but it's. You know, people have to wanna take them too.
right.
I know a lot of that stuff's
Sorry.
available, yeah, already. So, it's like at the end of the day, we have to weigh everything.
Right.
That's the reason I even brought up that the pricing was like,
And I,
if it,
I did run I have some numbers and stuff of what we paid for several years and how much we got back. From the dividend from each of those years too, so we can
Awesome.
take that into consideration later.
So I guess my question would be. At Road and Bridge, I have to bid apples and apples. So if you're gonna get quotes from both of them, how do you make sure that you're getting apples to apples? Does that statement make sense?
So I guess I would have to lean on you to help decipher what they look like when we get them and all the information, because we don't have, I mean, we're not privy to the
Right.
dividends or any of that.
That's just,
we'd have to weigh, cause I can't say that I know exactly what trainings are available and how much they are versus what would be offered and, okay,
We just
there could be
don't
a
have
ton of
information.
free classes, but unless we utilize them, it's not, so it's like. We'd almost need to kind of go through and assess each department and see what they would use Or would it be taking away something they already do use, or, you know? So there's a lot of metrics that we would need to apply, matrices, excuse me.
I think something to keep in mind, regardless of which company. Yeah, there's a lot of training available, both online and in person. That we're not utilizing. We need to incentivize department heads to start using it. You know, use it or lose it kind of things. Maybe there's maybe raises are factored in. The employee does these 6 modules in the year, then they get the full whatever raise is. Maybe they get less if they don't do it. I mean, I'm saying maybe there's a way to put something together to incentivize the training and the safety issues. Joe, have you guys been able to use anything from Carrot for road and bridge training?
Do.
So that's how we do the defensive driving through, and we do.
We use K-Camp and Carrot for trainings.
Okay.
You need to keep track of which ones we.
Right.
You also do road scholars.
Yeah,
I think that's
we
what
also
they
do that, but
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's good.
Sorry, I just want to make sure you got kudos for that one, so.
yes, we were trying to have those, it's a little off subject, but the trainings here. You know, that we talked about a year ago, and we we're supposed to have one tomorrow, I believe, or Thursday, Monday this week, and there wasn't enough people enrolled. You have to have 10. And we had 7. So that training was canceled. So us trying to, you know, it was Public Works 1 and 2. It's a class I would need, and a class like Emily and possibly the 2 foremans, but they're not all here. This is through LTAP and everything. They're not all here. You have to travel to the other end of the state to get them, and we were trying to get them
Yeah.
here, and it just got canceled. So
No
it's-
township participation or city or,
no one.
that blows my mind.
I talked
10
to,
people is not that many.
and I talked to, oh, I can't remember her name at the main conference, and told her that we were short, and she re-advertised it. Trying to help us get more people, but it just didn't.
So what's the region? I mean, just anywhere.
Well, they send out where the trainings are.
Okay.
And sometimes a lot of them are in the western part of the state. Or southeast, but they're not always up here. So like, when we do blade training, you know, we usually pull everybody we can as close. One of the last trainings we had was Bridge 101. So we got people from Leavenworth County. We might get people that are halfway across the state. You know, they're trying to get it to where, and they make it easier, and they're doing more online classes, but some of them aren't. And some of them fall in times of year where it's really hard too, so. But they've been taking our input and trying to help with regionally where to have the classes.
I wonder how they advertise on their LTAP website. I bet a lot of the townships aren't probably.
Probably getting to do
Because
As a rule, I don't know that townships have ever reached out much for outside training.
well, at Walnuts meetings, they've asked for it. I mean,
Well, good.
historically of like, hey, we have an operator blade training, how can they?
Well, we've had Capioma come to one, Benton came to one. And I think it was Lancaster might have been there also, I'm not sure, do a blade training before.
And as the blade guys retire, it's nice to have somebody else with that ability to take a class or learn, you know, the ins and outs of running.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, Emily.
So we have 2 more classes coming up. And both of those classes, we have enough people to create the class. The class is going to go, which is making safer roads and bridge maintenance. So because this one failed, the other 2, we were able to, they got enough people signed up that those will be going on.
Good.
Nice.
That's great.
Thank you.
Making safer roads and.
So the one that
Bridge.
didn't was,
Public Works 1 and 2, correct, Emily?
Yes, correct.
And what was the other one?
Making safer roads and Bridge 101,
Bridge maintenance.
bridge maintenance.
Bridge 101's a whole nother class.
What, do you have dates on those, Emily?
Bridge maintenance is October 11th at 8 a.m.
At your shop?
The Memorial Hall.
For all?
Okay.
And then Making Safer Roads is October 26th at 9 a.m.
Just for the people watching. Writing notes. Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
You're welcome.
Talked about looking at individual insurance to compare with K Camp too.
We did.
Okay,
I haven't reached out
Okay.
to them yet.
What's-
since we were
what's-
Already in the,
right, what's that?
it's a calendar year.
Is it? Okay. I was just curious because it's.
Roger didn't see it.
Hold on for this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good of all the sudden.
Striping is complete. It's
Sorry.
next one.
Well,
Good.
The striping is complete.
nice.
Oh, straight.
And even the one that you had changed up, was it last week you had talked
Yeah.
about?
Just see, they were doing a little stretch going to the old roadside park on Thomas, and they were right there at 210. So they just did it, they started there and then worked their way north. So, yeah, it was done. They move around long. So,
So how many total miles we end up done?
it's 24 or 25. Okay. When we changed that, it changed just a little bit. But around that. Yeah.
Citing if your fall patching can come in. These levels will be able to add more to that as well.
Yeah, this is unreal. Like, we're hearing lower. What? That never happens. It feels
Well,
like.
I was kind of surprised by some of that, so, but we'll investigate everything.
Verify scope and
Yeah.
process.
Well, I came home last night and I saw the road stripe. And then this morning I noticed I could see stripe all the way up to St. Pat, all the way up there.
It just looks
It's
it's
different,
completely different.
yeah. I mean, I know that striping's going. I don't know until it hits home.
Mhm. Well, you left out it hit your home. Their instructions was to start at the right of way and not in front of you, but hey,
You got-
things happen and
you got
know, you lucked out.
Yeah,
That's okay. But there's a patch of Johnson grass that's actually on the state right away, and I don't know why, but it's just right there in the strip. Right. It's on the state right away.
Okay.
And at
So-
one time, wasn't the county?
So the
didn't have a
county
contract with
has-
the state?
So this year there were certain roads that we take care of. So
Yeah.
instead of us, so they have an allotment of how much money they pay us a year.
That's what it's.
So between the county and the state at Horton, they decided which roads they'd like for us to spray. And 73 South, I don't believe was on that this year. I think it was 159-9. Don't hold me to it, and 116 possibly.
It's
Now,
just one big strip.
okay,
And I know, would be,
where's that?
it's right at, well, it's on 234th Road, but it's on the state right of way. And there is a lot of right of way at that area, because the state, when they built it, they had plans, I think, to make like a closure or something.
Gotcha.
That never
Usually
came
it's
to
like,
fruition,
I go
but
4th Street
Anyway,
parallel to drop
it's
heat
just a
every morning.
big
So I
strip
see her and I'm
of-
like, oh, she's not here. That's weird.
You
know, she had
grass.
So she was coming in.
Johnson grass is what everybody said. and
From your house, where?
It's right there by our driveway.
Okay.
Is that navy?
So,
I like that color.
you know, we've tried
Some
mowing it.
Helen.
John may have tried to spray it, you
Then
know, and my nephews,
They're
of
still
course, they
that.
bail it, but they're like, oh. Yeah, do the
Six.
little, but it just keeps growing. It's like we can't get rid of it.
That's some stuff.
Yeah,
You have to.
and it's just a strip, probably
You can tell that they're growing.
It's not that.
10 foot long, but it just keeps, you can tell it's getting a little bit more and more, and it's not like we haven't tried to control it or.
Right.
Yeah, on that striping, I mean, it was running a truck like on these roads when they're on the narrow side anyway, you know, like 286. And when you're meeting other semis, it's so helpful to have that stripe on the side there.
Mhm.
Cause you got a good gauge, you're not having to really look at nothing but the edge of the road when you're white knuckling it, but
Trade mirrors that way, right?
yeah,
Especially at night.
yeah.
We got
Or-
a comment from last night on a farmer on Morton Road. How much difference it made.
Yeah. Well, then when deer are running, because a lot of times. You know, they'll just come out of nowhere, you know, well. But you know, at least with some striping there, I don't know if that's gonna help visibility when deer start running, but. One night I was on my way to a board meeting at Effingham and. God, there were like 13 deer. Coming across on 230th Road, and they just kept coming and coming and coming. And they'll come up out of a ditch, you know, you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even see them in a ditch and they'll just come right up and.
Well, when you have that nice white line there, you
Yeah.
can see them. All of a sudden, when the lines disappear and you know something's crossing,
Yeah,
where as if it's just nothing but dull, I mean, you just don't see them.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that it can be a helpful to see those.
yes. Yeah. At our house, when it was built, there is a barbed wire there.
Yeah, let's say you're in
Well-
the executive session.
We got that.
You
removed.
did. I did.
The state allowed us to take that. There. Put a number.
Same name or not. Right.
Anyway, that's
I
why.
was second guessing myself with that.
You have no choice.
There are some. Opinions about the road or the word of them by Tom's house. They're trying to decide whether they. Right now, we take a session for attorney client.
That was one of Jay Hall things. If you ever have an attorney client, you must have your attorney. with you. Because they would try to have it and leave them out. And it's like, how does this qualify?
Well, no, we had that problem. They were trying to fire their kid.
They call the attorney client without him?
Yeah. And well, and he's already. Already started on. You can discuss this in different.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
His wife was like. this.
yeah. and
Pretty-
But I remember that.
Referred you to me, that you just, that's why
Oh.
you come talk to me.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know any of that. I'm over here under my rock.
Well, we could.
No.
For it, you know,
If
typical, whatever.
he referred you-
It's been
I
a
didn't think it
while.
was quite that long.
Okay.
Maybe 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. But I'd have to see.
I hope their
think it
meeting
was-
goes well on the
Kind
20th.
of on that fence line or near that
Right.
fence, that original fence line. And the paper was.
Roger's on, yeah, you could probably call it.
Carter?
Yep.
Okay. I will move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 11:15 a.m. for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed by KSA 75-4319 B2, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the confidentiality of the discussion, and that the board come out of executive session in 30 minutes in the courthouse basement in the commission room. And those present will be the three commissioners, Pat Henderson, Joe Snyder, Justin Pugent, Mark Zeltner, and Roger Denton.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. And then we'll move to closed session.
Interested in last week. In Polly. Oh, yeah, we're good. It's fine. 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to extend our attorney-client relationship executive session for 15 minutes, same parameters.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we are back in open session. Lindsay Wood, Atchison Senior Village Administrator, and Wesley Lanner, Emergency Management IT Director, Atchison Senior Village Computers and Equipment. Hi, guys. What's up?
He was just coming to answer some of the questions about the
Awesome.
iPads that you guys have, so.
Perfect.
Yep.
So I just am curious, we have old iPads that were purchased through the IT department.
No, they were the election iPads. And when she got new ones, they wouldn't give her any trade-in on. So we wiped them.
Okay.
And have them repurposed, but we don't have a use for them.
Okay.
So she reached out, I don't know, a while back. And for $500 we can buy new chargers and the cases. To where they can use, and a keyboard for them, so then their nurses can use them when they go room to room, nurses or providers, right?
Yeah.
Can go room to room and then not have to go to the patient or the resident and then go back to a computer somewhere else and they can fill it out while they're in there. So it's good use for them, because we have no other use for them, they're just collecting dust currently.
Okay, I think my question was like, then if it sells, are they gonna be moved to Senior Village? Are they gonna be like off of your inventory? How is this?
So yes, they would on inventory, they would be moved to Senior Village, but when that time comes, we have a big discussion. Of what goes with Senior Village and what doesn't go with Senior Village and how we separate them from us. So I mean, that's a big long discussion.
That's another whole discussion, yeah, but since they're both kind of at the forefront now, I mean, the discussion anyway. I had just hated to just say, oh yeah, just do it, and then immediately it was gonna be new things to cause problems, so. That's the reason, so how do we handle that?
And I think that was my question, because for so long, we've been told Senior Village is out here running without ad valorem taxes. And then we have equipment that's paid through the general and other departments being sent over to Senior Village.
So
What all that?
most of their computers are hand-me-downs, except for their key offices. So for example, hers is purchased by Senior Village and their business office manager and the DON and the assistant DON. But the rest of the computers in that facilities have all been ones that we pulled out of other offices to retire, but they're still good enough to use. So then we take them up to Senior Village and put them wherever they're needed up there. So we're essentially recycling department computers out at Senior Village. Which is what we've done for the last, since I've been here in 2010. We did try to set up a budget to where there are a few other computers that need to be on a
Desktops,
cycle.
not laptops. desktops.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they have more computers that need to be on a cycle for their med cards and their therapy laptops and stuff like that. So we did add to their budget for this year, and I'm not sure about next year, to where they can get on a replacement cycle for their important computers versus
Critical ones.
critical ones. There you go. I mean, they're all important, but critical ones.
I mean, I'm fine with utilizing them and doing that, but I just, there's just, it seems like it's more complicated than just a simple, here you go. And I think, we're just looking for more of how is this gonna work right now, and then how is this gonna work maybe 6 months or 8 months down the road?
So I thought this was gonna be more of that discussion.
Thank you.
So this is what they currently have up there. Here you go, that's it. And this is nothing. This is just me throwing everything together and still trying to think of what they have that I don't have on this list. So, computers, 24 total computers, and those range from anywhere from 2014 models all the way up to 2023 models. And then desktop scanners, iPads, they have some iPads that are mounted on the walls, and then they have the iPads that say 7 that are mobile. 5 of those would be the ones that we're talking about, so they're not up there yet. They have 2 currently that are up there mobile. Phone, printers, copiers, and you can see the action that I have to the right. So some of that stuff is going to have to be, if and when it sells, will have to be either removed from the facility or reloaded. When I say reloaded, it's 8 to 10 hours of computer, so hopefully not reloaded. Hopefully when if that ever happens, we tell them we're gonna pull these, because that's how any HIPAA agency that works. So we're gonna pull our computers and you're gonna come in day one with new computers with your stuff on it. But that's completely up to the commission to decide that. But keep in mind, if we wipe and reload all them and leave them there, you're talking months. No, not months. Almost a month.
So all the patient information can be saved though to a server or
So
something.
most of their patient information is on almost all of their patient information is on PointClickFire and NetHealth. But there could be stuff saved on those computers from prior patients, which they don't have the rights to view. Right. So that shouldn't happen, but that's a possibility of it. So that's why typically whenever you change owners of a healthcare institution, you get to pull your computers or you pull your hard drives.
It's like a firewall, so there's no way they could get it if we pull the computers.
Correct. So that's something that you'll have to decide between you and the buyer.
Can I ask another, question, so using computers, so 24 computers, and to reload would be 8 to 10 hours per computer.
I mean, we can wipe them quick, but reloading whatever software they get on them, that takes a while. And then Windows updates and all the drivers.
But could we wipe them of what we can't allow them to see and then,
No.
okay, and then leave it on
Because
them?
that means you're going through every computer, looking through every file. And
No, I was just wondering, the wipe on our side, the reload on the new owner side is what I was asking.
oh, that's easy. We could do that. Yeah, we could literally just pull the hard drive.
Yeah, that way it covers us, because what I'd like in my brain, as long as it follows all auditing rules and keeping, whatever separate, would be to leave the facility turnkey, like to where these ladies show up tomorrow just like they did yesterday and keep on keeping on without an interruption.
But us pulling the hard drives and then they're gonna have 8 hours of reloading that machine, whoever purchases it. So it wouldn't be turnkey. It would honestly probably be easier for that company to bring new computers and plug it in and set them up.
Okay, but again, we need to make sure we cross that bridge.
That'd be something to figure out.
Yeah. Then we of course have network equipment that will leave that facility. That connects the rest of the courthouse to that facility. The emails that they currently have that would not deal with the sale because that's our license on our domain. Camera system would go with them, phone system and internet up there would transfer to new owner. PointClickFire, NetHealth, all light paging, Dish Network, SBAC, Sling, and Tells, all of that would transfer to the new owner. But these are just some things to think about.
Yeah, this is really interesting because I hadn't ever seen a list like this compiled, we're talking about things, how that interaction will be about.
And a lot of their files are backed up here at the courthouse. Most of their files are back up here, and so the whole separation of the network would have to happen, which is not an overnight thing, we needed quite a bit of notice to make that happen, and for them to still be functioning.
Well, and when we met with the broker, his timeline was 6 months typically. Which is what he said on his presentation, once we. So then the iPad number on here does not include the ones we're speaking about
So the
today.
iPad's mobile, so
Yeah.
line 4
Okay.
would include those.
Okay, well, I mean. I think if we've already been doing it this way and moving county equipment in Cedar Village, this is no different, and then we figure out an exit plan and stay the same. So, I mean, that would be my suggestion.
I'm fine with that.
And so we originally kept them because all of our time clocks are iPads. And so we kept them thinking, well, one that has, so we have these others, but I think the election iPads are actually older than the iPads that we're using for the time clock, so, but they'll still work perfectly for what they need.
Were they the ones like I had used one?
No, that's actually newer than these. The iPad that you used was actually newer than ones that were. But I mean, they'll still update to the same iOS, the batteries are still good, we just need new chargers, those chargers. Don't last. Yeah, and that is fair, you're right, so.
Okay, so who's gonna supply the chargers?
So that was part of the $500 plan, or the $500 package to buy a case, so if they drop it, it doesn't break.
Okay.
So they can hide and much.
And that's out of your budget this
And
year,
that's
right?
out of her budget.
Sounds good.
All I have, unless you have questions about any of this, I tried to write down my recommendation.
Well, that'll be helpful. I don't know where we're at since we executed the contract. Have you talked to Nick at all?
Oh, yeah. We touched quite a bit last week. He has more information and
Awesome.
with Lindsay was involved with it, Mark was too. We got him more information about the number of rooms we have and things like that. Like, there's more details, I guess, about the physical plan. He told me that he thought that he would even start writing to the potential purchasers this week.
Awesome. Okay,
I think it's moving on.
nice.
So do we need a motion to allow the transfer or anything?
No, it's under her threshold.
Yeah, no, they just wanted to, because when it was initially brought up, it was the cash issue, we were really far behind, so
Yeah.
we kind of wanted to hash out, should we keep spending non-vital money if, while we were kind of negative, now we bounce back and she has money in her budget. I'm emailing you now what ledger to use.
Okay.
To pay for it, so.
Okay. And then the only thing that I have updated is, John did get an updated invoice for that grate that I was telling you guys about, that's in the back. So originally to fix like all of it at the facility, which was including like the grate and a sidewalk and something was like 10 grand. So just to fix the grate part of it is like 7,000, because they're gonna have to, I mean, like, it's the part where if someone runs over it and hits it just wrong and that grate falls through, then someone's vehicle is going to, like, the tire it'll probably be sitting on, like, the bottom of their car will be sitting
I said it.
in a hole. Yeah.
I would have looked at it, it's pretty
Yeah.
nasty.
So, and we have cones there, but the cones continuously get ran over. We told people not to park there. I mean, it's just, so this is like one thing. So they removed the other stuff because John thinks that he could take on like the fixing of the sidewalk and something else. So this is just for the paving area around the drain. Okay.
So is that just paving or is that?
Well, it's.
They were like,
7,070, are we good?
They gotta rebuild that grate.
Or will this be out of your budget?
You could do great either one, whatever you
Yeah.
decide.
So you have it in your budget?
Yeah.
Lindsay, I'll use the same grade.
Well, I'll just let her.
I think they would, I don't know if the grate was included. The grate itself is fine. It's just like eroded so much like around the outside that there's
Foundation
nothing
that it
like,
sits on.
yeah, holding it. It's like if you step on it, then one side has something to catch on, but the other side would just So it has to be strategically placed at the moment for it not to fall through already. Without any pressure on it. So. Would we do that? Which ledger would we,
You can use maintenance and repairs. I think it's fine.
you think that's okay? Because I thought we were way over in that
You
just
are,
because
but
of
you've got
Jeff.
some other items that kind of offset it.
Okay,
So I think it's, especially when running historical numbers. I think it's important to code,
keep it
even if
within,
it is over in that one.
just knowing that I have other places
Yeah,
where we're not
it'll
utilizing.
offset
Okay,
Okay, so yes, we are not doing any remediation of the drain due to budget. We are strictly tearing concrete out, regrading and repouring to the current drain elevation. So, yeah, this is to furnish the labor, materials and equipment just to pave around our current area of the drain.
Yeah.
Okay, so I look for a motion to approve the purchase order for Atchison Senior Village to Botteroff Construction in the amount of $7,070 to replace the concrete 15-foot by 15-foot around our current grate parking lot grate.
So moved.
And this will be paid out of the 2023 budget.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
Status of the other repairs that are being done up there.
so my office is hopefully almost done. So that'll be nice, get back in there. We did have those people come to give us the invoice on the windows, but John hasn't forwarded me that yet, so I'm assuming he hasn't seen an invoice from them yet. I can ask him to double check with them. They're the people from Kansas City who he had worked with when he works at the Y. And then tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we will be going to the KHCA convention for like training and different things. So it'll be me, Ashley, the DON, and then our MDS coordinator, because starting October 1st, the MDS assessment is moving from 2.0 to 3.0. So there's like, will be different things that they have to update as far as like on the care plan assessments and different things that are just evolving, I guess. So we're going to do that
When is that?
tomorrow. We leave tomorrow. And then it's in the after, like we have to sign or check in at 1, and then it's all afternoon. They have trainings and different things. There's like, I don't know, I guess there's vendors and different, like long-term care people. So hopefully it'll be good, like information and stuff. And then Thursday, you kind of like, they have morning sessions and afternoon sessions. And so you kind of pick, which ones you want to go to. So there's some that are more geared towards nursing and administration and different things like that. So, well,
Okay, you see.
yeah, so we'll try to just go to each one, go to different ones so we can kind of get all of the information
Nice.
or a variety of information. So,
Probably good.
Yeah.
Good workshops.
Yeah.
Where's it located?
it's in Mulvane. It's
Oh, yeah.
there's like a casino hotel there. So that's.
There's been quite a few things happening there.
So. That's. We got a new managed care resident, so we're at 39 residents now. I don't think we're still, we're still low in the dietary and as far as like workers. And we obviously still need an RN. The nurse that we've had a couple of people that have shown interest, but one nurse that I would really like to get, because she comes to our facility quite frequently through an agency and does a great job. She has an ex-husband who doesn't budge on their agreement with like their children. So unfortunately it was a no-go. Yeah. So, but I've updated all the job listings with Jody like a couple weeks ago. So what we have out there is currently what we need. So, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yes. I didn't write which ledger it was coming out of on that, just because I didn't know which one we wanted to take it out of yet. So I filled everything.
Okay, any unfinished business?
You need probably a 5-minute executive session on the attorney client.
Okay. 3 commissioners and you?
Yes.
Under what? Attorney client.
Okay, right to you. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I will move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 12:19 a.m. for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed by KSA 75-4319 B2. And that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the confidentiality of the discussion, and that the board come out of executive session in 5 minutes in the commission room, courthouse basement, and those present will be the 3 commissioners and Pat Henderson.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, passes 3-0.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, you want me on?
Okay,
okay, we are back in open session. And have an executive session, non-elected.
I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 12:25 a.m. to discuss personnel matters, 12:25 p.m. Sorry. To discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel as allowed by KSA 75-4319 B1. And that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the privacy rights of the employee. And that the board come out of executive session in 30 minutes. And we'll come out in this room, commission room, the courthouse basement. And those present will be the 3 commissioners, Pat Henderson and the county attorney.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second. It's been.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0.
My thoughts, sorry.
You're good.
But no further action.
Oh,
Do they? I'm just trying to make it simple.
Okay, yeah, then we wouldn't have to come back out.
we better just extend for 30.
Let's-
To
let's
get
do
clarification,
45.
or sorry, 45.
Just do that.
I'm going to make a motion that we extend our previous executive session by 45 minutes.
Okay, I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0.
Recess, so then you just.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
you're
are
off.
back in open session. I'll wait for Pat. He's up for county councilor updates. Actually, he gave us an update and then. Pat, did you have any other updates for us today?
I think so.
One quick question I had was, the tax sale, which you had said February 2024, so just making sure that's updated on the website, cause she said
Yes.
that it still said Memorial Hall, October 5th, 2022
Okay,
at 10
thank you.
a.m. So,
All right, thank you.
Okay. We had, yesterday was we had a publication notice in the paper. And all the people that were serving by publication had to file their answers by yesterday. There wasn't anything filed yesterday, so I think we're to that point where we move on to the next steps.
cool.
Has there been anything further done with the Lincoln statue?
No, no, there is. It's on it's 6th on the list.
Okay,
It's on the list.
I think as long as it's not taken care of, it's not insured, so what's the reason
Well, I think we're covered for the insurance. I think it's not memorialized for the future as well as it should be. I do think it's covered now.
Well, that's not the way I remember, because they were wanting what. I didn't think it would be covered until it would be proven that it was county property.
Yeah, I think we could prove that we needed to. Yeah,
Okay,
but
well,
but you're right, it's not memorialized as well as it should be. And it's That's not for time.
Okay, approval of the expenses. Do I have a motion to approve today's expenses?
So, second.
Well, it's been moved and seconded as that.
Double up on that one.
4-1 or what?
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Passes 3-0. Any public comment? All right, seeing none. I look for, a motion to adjourn.
So, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. We are adjourned at 1:43.